top.
Yep. Just hit it once. I've done it. Takes a little bit to
Did
start.
it,
It changed to stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Good evening. My name's Julia Eldridge. I am the Vice Chair of Harwich Historic District and Historical Commission. We're calling to order our meeting for Wednesday, November 16th, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the small hearing room at Town Hall at 732 Main Street, Harwich. According to Massachusetts law, we will be audio and video recording this meeting. If anyone in the audience intends to audio or video record this meeting, you must inform the Vice Chair now. Seeing, hearing none, we will start the meeting with a roll call.
Bob Doan?
Brendan Lowney.
Lynn Zalisak.
Okay, and we will start our public meeting, and the first item on our agenda is, let me find the agenda. There it is, okay. HH 2022-20, 721 Main Street, LLC. Owner has applied for a certificate of appropriateness to change a window to door in the Harwich Center Historic District. The subject property is 721 Main Street, map 41, parcel D5. Is the applicant here? Okay.
My apologies.
No
Okay.
problem.
For the record, my name is Howard Cahoon. Julie, nice to see you. You're the chairman today?
Yeah.
I am.
Madam Chairperson. This is something that you've already looked at. We got to the planning board and you approved it. We got to the planning board and they said, I don't think you have a second egress. So we had to go back and go through it again.
Okay.
But there's no other change. We wouldn't have been able to get a building permit without doing what they wanted. So we ask your blessing once more.
Mr. Doan?
Sure. No real question. It's on the west side, right? And it's just replacing the window with the door, and I think it's fine.
Nothing here?
Nothing here.
Nothing here.
I move, yeah.
Any public comment?
Yeah.
Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public meeting.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay,
All those in favor
all those in favor?
of closing the public
Closing the
hearing.
public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. And I move to accept the, accept 2022-20 as planned. I'll read the whole thing here. Case number HH 2022-20, filing date 10/18/2022. Date of hearing 11/16/2022. Property 781 Main Street, Harwich, 41-D5. Owner Samuel Patel. Applicant Samuel Patel. Application type certificate of appropriateness. Description of proposed construction or alteration. Replace window. I'm writing this down. With exit door.
Should we put 3-foot emergency egress door?
Yeah, 3
Okay.
foot. Emergency door. List of plans, material thing. I'll refer to this plan. Plan dated
3/7/22? Oh, yeah, oh,
10/14/22, actually.
oh, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, the revised date. 10/14/22. Plan project number 21-611. And the findings of approval, the proposed construction or alteration will be appropriate for or compatible with the preservation protection of the historic district. Check that off. Determination approved. I don't know if there's any additional comments. I don't think so.
No.
Straightforward, or no conditions, because it's outlined as the map. So I move to accept those, what I just quoted. That's a motion.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Lynn? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Good.
Great, thank you very much.
Yep.
Long
Thank you.
form.
We'll try not to come
Good
back
luck.
to this one right away.
Okay. Next item on our agenda, application HH 2022-21, Michael and Michaela DeVirio. Owner, through their agent Attorney William Kroll, has filed a notice of intent. The project proposes full demolition to construct a new single-family dwelling. The structure is over 100 years old, according to town assessing records, and is located at 68 Snow Inn Road, map 15, parcel N9-2.
Good evening, Attorney William Kroll from Harwich Court. Nice to see everybody. Represent the petitioners this evening, Michael and Michaela DeVario. And I have seated here with me Mike Tartamella from Patrick O'Hearn Associates in Boston, architectural firm on my right. Mike, and then Colby Mock, who works with him at the homeowners could not be here this evening. You'll recall, if you recall, during COVID, we had a meeting, and on December 16, 2020, a Zoom access hearing, and my client, I believe was in California at the time, was part of the presentation with me, and we were asking for a partial demolition of those single-family residents at 68 Snow Inn Road. And you folks were kind enough to see your way to saying, yes, that's okay, it's not a, we made a determination of non-significance, I believe, and said that we could go forward. There was no one-year demolition delay, anything like that, and we indicated to you that there were certain, basically on the south side, squaring off the south side, octagonal room, adding to the existing porch, and adding a third floor deck and a first floor patio on the south side, which would basically mean 3 faces, 3 stories of porch, sliders, glass windows, all looking southerly towards the harbor. So, why are we back? We're back because with the market the way it was, the property on the corner of Snow Inn Road became available. Used to be Dave Davis's Wind and Weather Indicators for many, many years, and then the last 20 years it was owned by a construction company, Cape Coastal Construction, and my clients bought that property about a year ago. So now they own both properties, and they had a change of heart about this one. And now they would like to demolish and replace this one as per the plans that we presented. And when the architectural firm reviewed the existing condition of the property, and Mike can fill you in more on that than I can with the details, but I just wanted to review the elements of the determination of historical significance. This property is listed on your inventory. historic, and it's over 100 years old, 1875 or so, somewhere in there, 1865, 1875. As I indicated last time, December 16, 2020, it's not been directly associated with one or more historically noteworthy persons or events, or with political, cultural, economic, or social history of the town. Does not possess particular architectural value or significance. I'm told that it's Greek revival, but it's kind of, with all due respect to the property, a mishmash. But I don't think that it's, you'd say that it was a particular architectural value or significance, or representative of a recognized architectural style or period, or method of construction, or materials used by or by virtue of association with a historically noteworthy architect. So I don't think I.M. Pei or any of those guys were involved with this in the past, and George Washington did not sleep there. So I went through that the last time. I'm just going through it so I can say for the record that I've covered those elements. And we're asking that the board make a determination of non-significance and allow us to demolish entirely the structure that's there, and make a finding that would not destroy or substantially diminish the historical significance of the structure if we replace it with the structure that we've proposed. And you'll see on the plans that were submitted with the petition, you can see the existing structure, drone pictures of the existing structure, streetscape pictures of it. I would say, facing Snow Inn Road, it does not seem to me to be of particular noteworthy significance. And as I said, with the octagonal room, if we squared that off and had 3 stories, if you look at what it was going to look like the last time we were here, kind of block on block on block of sliders and the like. So I think if you look at the proposed plans, I'm calling it more of a gambrel appearance on the south and north faces, and then much more of a colonial Cape Cod architecture on the east and west faces. They're fairly similar and have sort of the, I'm going to call it the A-frame dormers on them. So that's what I have to say. I'd like Mike to chime in and give you some of the details, if he would, about the existing, what they found about the existing building and why they're proposing what we are for the new building.
So thank you. So for the record, Mike Tartamella, Patrick Ahern, architect. So just to a point of clarification too, we were not the architect of the first proposal, and actually the client's brother, who also happens to be an architect in Florida, was the one who had developed the plans for the house. So we had been brought into the project at a point where those plans were developed and the approvals were in place, and there was some question on how they wanted to proceed. And I think some of that really stemmed from when you got into a little bit more detail of what in fact they were actually saving from the old structure. There wasn't really anything except for the front facade. And I think, you know, in today's world with construction costs, and you start to approach the point of new construction very quickly in terms of renovation, and with the magnitude of work that was going to go on here, there wasn't anything of the old house left. By the time they put a new foundation under it, by the time they replaced all of the structural deficiencies, there were issues regarding the roof framing. By the time you upgrade all of those things, there was nothing left, and it became more cost prohibitive to renovate than to sort of start fresh. So they approached us to start fresh. We then engaged in the design process to develop something that was a little bit more, I think, in keeping with the context of what that area is in terms of 1.5-story cape and shingle style homes. The house that we put together, as Mr. Kraus said, was more the vernacular of a 1.5-story versus the 3-story that you see on the south elevation, which is more contemporary, which frankly I don't think necessarily complemented the existing architecture all that well. But the new structure was put together in more of a master plan perspective of them acquiring the other property as well. They're a young family. I think they really wanted to maintain a sense of scale there, and ultimately the existing house just didn't really provide them with enough programmatic elements that they were searching for. So that, coupled with the construction challenges of maintaining what was there, kind of prompted them to come before you for the demolition. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the architecture, but overall, I think, as Mr. Kraus said, we were very much in the vernacular of a traditional Cape Cod style, shingle style architecture, with natural cedar shingles, natural cedar shingle roof, and some varying panel detail on the lower floor of the elevations on Snow Inn Road. We've also recessed a roof deck inside the roof line so that it doesn't protrude any taller. And in fact, the existing home is slightly taller than the proposed. We're at about 29 feet, 4 inches right now, where the proposed will be slightly shorter at 28 feet. And I think the language of the architecture as you go down Snow Inn Road and head towards Winchmere, it's consistent with a lot of the scale of the other 1.5-story gambrel and gable houses on the road in the streetscape.
I don't know if Mike touched on the thought that it would be cost prohibitive to the homeowners to renovate the existing structure versus demolish and replace. And so when they looked at all the figures, it was making more sense to demolish and replace. Thank you.
Okay. Brendan, you
So, yeah, just a quick question for clarification. They purchased 625 Route 28, correct? Okay, and will this building spread over both properties? No, it's staying on,
You know,
okay.
they're keeping the two lots separate.
Yep.
Both projects will conform to zoning,
Mhm.
setbacks, et cetera. And we do seek special permit for this project once we have your blessing. But
Right, so you still need a special permit
From the
for
Board of Appeals.
That's
yeah.
right.
a lot coverage or whatever you're going for.
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
For both lots.
But they're not combining the two lots, and this isn't straddling the properties, maintaining two separate structures.
mhm.
You're putting a full foundation under this also.
Mhm. So just a lot coverage issue, more or less, for the special permit? Just curious.
On the south side, I had to go in.
Setback as well.
Board of
Oh, setback.
Appeals,
Maintain existing nonconformity.
Non-conforming setback, gotcha. Okay.
Right. And the Board of Appeals did grant that in case number 2021-23 on May 26, 2021, after we were in the CU,
Mhm.
and they granted a special permit. To renovate the pre-existing non-conforming single-family residence by replacement of the existing foundation, addition on the west side, square off the southerly side, addition of a deck on the south side. And we were too close to Bay Road on the south, but you can play with that. If you're already too close, then you
Right.
can play with it.
Yeah, I think originally we were so focused on keeping that Greek Revival front, and we knew the back of the house, the original application. That's why we were really leaning towards, if that could be saved, then, you know, cleaning
Right.
up or making the modifications in the back wasn't that big of a deal. So this is a completely different, you know, animal altogether.
Right.
So,
Sure. We acknowledge that. I
Yep.
think ultimately when you get into it and see there's nothing left. It's a facade, it's almost a stage set from the front.
Yeah,
It just, as we say, cost prohibitive, which
yeah.
I know it's easy to say, but we don't sort of take that position very quickly. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
genuine effort to say, well, is this something that's salvageable? Is this something that we could preserve?
Yeah.
And our firm has a long history of doing that.
Agreed.
In this situation, it was just really not, it wasn't really proactive to just say, well, let's renovate this and make
Mhm.
it what it could be by the time you end up having to put it on a substantial foundation and correct some of the structural issues inside the house.
Yeah, it seems like the square foot pricing for new and renovation work is almost the same now,
Yes.
minus the
Yeah.
foundation and septic, obviously,
Well,
but,
there's so much
yeah.
deconstruction that would go on here. It's
Yeah.
sort of a futile effort. I mean, the interior stairs are all, narrow. You've got egress issues. There's some sagging in the floors. I mean, we haven't done full structural assessment on the house. I mean, we're happy to do that, but when you start talking about 2x6 rafters and roofs, those things just don't perform, even for energy codes today. We're not able to get necessary insulation in some of those places. So.
Lynn?
I see my email is in here. Historically, as I said to you before, we were in the middle of starting to pack up the museum for some construction work that's going to be done on the foundation. And at that time, I had not found anything, but it was on my list of about 4 other properties to take to Barnstable County and try to do some research on. So at this time, historically, I don't know any more. However, that could change based upon what I find in the records there. Have you guys done the search on the records?
We did. We looked for, we looked in Macris and we looked for a Form B.
But you haven't gone to the county, to the deeds, and looked through the deeds there?
We haven't researched anything in the deed.
Not sure what you're driving at.
Yeah.
Whether you guys have really done a historical search on the house?
You mean a title search, owner by owner type of thing?
Yeah, to find out who may have owned it in the past and what, if they have any historical relevance.
I see, all right. I know Dick Fennell
Yeah,
sold it to my clients, I believe. Or his wife as trustee of the trust, Shirley.
right, because I noticed it was under that.
So, no, we didn't the last time.
Okay, so basically, then there hasn't been any real heavy-duty research done on the house.
In terms of people that have owned it, not going back step by step on each prior owner, no.
Mr. Dome?
So, looking back at the minutes of that previous meeting in December of 2020, we did point out the architectural significance of the Greek Revival and noted that it is fairly ornate for it, and a lot of interesting detail for that period. And I do recall, and looking at refreshing my memory, I know that there was a commitment to, with the different additions or what they were going to do, is that it was actually going to fit in better than what it currently does. And I know that's what we approved basically at that time. My feeling has not changed on the architectural significance. And I think that is still an interesting point, and I think it is one of the few houses that, they are slowly getting all redone on that street, and it's not what it was originally. And obviously this Greek Revival was. So I'm inclined not to approve this myself.
And I would like to see more done on the history of the house and who lived there. It may have been a sea captain's house, one of the
Yep.
more well-known ones of the town. And if that's the case, that does give it historic significance.
Understood.
And is there any formal inspection report at all?
do not have I do not have
Okay.
a structural inspection.
Okay. All right. What is the pleasure of the board?
I mean, do you feel the historical should be researched, and do you want to, we can do a continuance till next month, or we could impose a one-year demolition delay, and you just do what you want in a year.
What
I
about
don't
coming
know.
back to the table with the, I mean, is it more of a design? Because we've worked with
I
people in
know,
the past about, I mean, you know, this definitely
true.
is completely different than what's there, that Greek revival look. That's really the bigger issue.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I know we have that third option.
Could you clarify that, Mr.
Yeah.
Please?
Just homes in the past, you know, because this is so much different than what's here. We've worked with architects in the past doing a continuance, bringing back drawings that would maybe more suit this design with the Greek revival look. We've approved those in the past.
Very substantially similar
Yeah.
Yeah.
type of approach, yeah.
Mhm.
But with that said, there is a lot of the umbrella look throughout, whether it be the campgrounds rolling into this area.
The house
It-
next door actually has a gambrel on it.
It really
It's
would
on
be-
that same side.
Yeah. It really would be the third option, but just wanted to present that. I think it's something, you know, Mary always,
Right,
you know,
she does.
mentions that when we get to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the presence on Snow Inn, where this is more lateral, where the other houses that you go down Snow Inn are more, you know, vertical into the depths of the lot, so you see less of the house from Snow Inn. Our lot, the configuration being on the corner, you see more of the Snow Inn Road elevation, which is
Right.
the two gables, but if this house were rotated and put on Snow Inn Road, it would look just like the one next to it in terms of the width of the box and the scale of the gambrel.
So if the sense of the board is, it doesn't matter what we bring back, if it's not substantially similar to what exists, or we'd say, well, we'll go back to what we had and partial demolition, which is not gonna work for the clients. But if it's not gonna make any difference what we come back with, if it doesn't, if we want what the clients want, this type of appearance, then I don't see a whole lot of sense of coming back,
Correct.
of
Yeah.
continuing and coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, particularly if we find some more historic information on it. That could give a, you know, that'd be a
Right.
stronger case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, if we found something that Elmer Kroll carved birds there in the past.
Yeah, if he carved all the fancy woodwork around the door, yeah.
Right, right, then that would make a difference.
Well, I think we'd be interested to know that anyway, if there's anything salvageable from the house for that reason. I think the clients would be inclined to salvage and reuse, or salvage and preserve, donate, whatever it would be. I think ultimately through the design process, they feel pretty strongly about the new construction.
Yeah.
Understandably, we're before you,
Right.
back in hand about that, but, I think, as Mr. Krause said, we probably would come back with a design that was more keeping with the revival.
Okay.
So would you, I would make a motion to impose a one-year delay unless you think you want to go back to your client and rethink it a bit, and we could do a continuance.
I think we would take the delay starting,
Sure.
and, we've sort of prefaced that conversation already.
Right.
I had consulted with them today going into the meeting.
Mhm.
It's a challenging site.
Yeah.
I can tell you, we spent a lot of design hours coming up with what we came up with them.
Yeah.
So I think they're inclined to, continue to move that
Sure.
forward based on the investment they put in so far.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay, so make a motion to close the, or any,
Oh,
any comments?
Any public comments?
I can't see. It's behind the chair.
So,
I'm
Okay.
keeping my comments to myself.
Okay.
I move to close the public hearing.
Okay, so,
Second?
second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, do you want to fill up?
Can you tackle that? I don't have any of the information
Okay.
on my sheet. I
Um,
don't know if yours is
I
already
don't,
filled.
neither, mine is not.
They're all blank.
Yeah, they're all
They're all
blank.
blank,
Okay.
so, I. Yeah, I do. I can
You
start.
have it?
Do you have it? Well, anyways, it's
I have
case number,
this.
what is the case number? 2022 dash,
Where is the,
Correct.
I've lost the agenda.
and the filing date was?
Do you have the filing
Should be
date?
on the,
10/17/22.
yep.
Yep. Okay.
Date of hearing, 11/16/2022.
Map 41, parcel D5.
What do you have?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the
I have
wrong one. Map,
15.
no, I'm sorry,
I
map
have
15.
15,
Yep,
okay.
I'm looking at the other one.
15
Parcel
N-9-2.
2. Yep.
Owner, Michael Burial. Applicant, the same Michael DeVario. Subject building is building age,
1875, is that right?
what's that? 1875?
1875, I think.
Yep.
It's on the town list.
Correct.
And the
Yep.
property card, that's on the property card.
Yep.
And Harwich list. Proposed still is a full. Was full
Full
demolition.
demolition, yep.
Building is
It's listed.
architectural value is represented to recognize actual style of period,
Yep.
and it's listed in historic property inventory.
Mm-hmm.
The proposed demolition would destroy or substantially historic value significance of the subject buildings. Determination. Demolition delay period imposed for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the length of delay is 1 year, is including 12 months
From today.
from today.
Yep.
So that would be till December,
November.
November 16th, 2023. No other conditions or whatever.
Nope.
So that is my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
declare it unanimous. You have to declare it unanimous
Oh,
because,
and it's, the vote is unanimous.
because of the four.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this is important
I'll
for
have to
you
sign these,
have.
right? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
You had the other one, right, that I did? Did I give you that
No, you
one?
didn't give it to me yet.
Okay.
Do you? I don't think you did. I have a blank one.
It's gotta be here
I
somewhere.
lose more paper on
Oh,
this
wait a minute,
table, and I
wait.
don't know how.
It's here, it's here. Here you go.
Any future rep, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want that? Does this have to go with it?
Oh, no, that doesn't.
That's yours,
go
right?
with it. That's mine.
Perfect. Thank you, Bob, for
I was
doing
looking
that.
for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next on our agenda. Oh, crap, hold on, where's the agenda? I keep misplacing everything. Do you have it? I think I just misplaced it somehow. I just had it.
I hear it. No, that's not it. Conservation.
The agenda for tonight, thank you. No, it's the
No.
agenda.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
we
the
don't have an
agenda.
agenda.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, here.
Unless it's in Mary's pile.
No, it's not a Mary's pile.
I just had it, I don't know what, I know it's David's next.
This?
Yes, that's,
Well, that's kind of,
Kind of it.
no, it's not.
Here it is, okay.
she's got it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Oh, wait. No, that's the
These are
same
down
thing.
there. That's the-
we have it.
The next
Have an
We don't
agenda.
have any meetings, so,
minutes, yeah.
we don't have any minutes to approve,
Right.
correct? I didn't see any. Any new business?
Uh,
Do you have any?
Nope, this is
Okay.
actually,
So this is it?
Yep.
So now we're up to David.
Hi,
Hello.
Mr. Smith.
I know three of you.
Brendan Lowney. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
He actually lives down the street from the museum.
We are working our way through the building's needs. At least two of you are more familiar with the building than I am, so I don't have to, maybe three of you, maybe four of you.
No, I think those two are probably much better.
In any case, CPC about 2 or 3 years ago said, well, before we go to any of your new projects, you better recheck a few things. So structural the foundation looks fine unless you start looking at it more carefully. So that's $1 million that the town has already approved.
Mhm.
And just for anyone who's interested, the current status is the contractor has now had at least 2 meetings with subcontractors on site. He's just about ready to go. The building department tells me the building permit will be issued this week. I'll be very happy when I
Really?
finally see
Wow.
it. And the owner's project manager that was approved at our fall town meeting, the applications are due tomorrow. So I'll be meeting the town administrator's office with the town administrator, the public works director, and whoever else is on the committee, and hopefully we'll have an OPM. So we've got 3 pieces going there. That means that project should be starting within 2 weeks. Do I dare say that?
Wow.
That's the current expectation. So, what do we do next? And we are working from the 2018 architect study, which did more of give us a wish list of things we might want to do, but we still can't get to those. And the 2019 structural engineering report, which identified the big item for the foundation. We've got the town to approve digging out the basement at the same time. So that, as I said, is all ongoing. And it identified some other issues in the building, most of which can be handled without going to CPC. But there are 2 items that are eligible for CPC and they need attention. Everybody who drives by sees what the peeling siding looks like. The reason we have not attended to that sooner is that we thought we had to do the same type of project as at the library, where they have had so much paint accumulation that they had to strip it down and start again. Our architect, who has basically, it's not part of his scope, but he has given us his time to look at things as he goes. And he said, no, it is not the same project as the library. It is still preparing the surface according to Massachusetts safe practices where you're dealing with lead paint, but it is not scraping the whole thing and starting from scratch. So it's essentially going to be preparing, which means repair some damage. And believe me, I'm not good at describing projects when you get down to the details. So what I've put in here is simply the architect's words, which are repair of clapboards and water table issues will be taken care of prior to painting. They'll do the painting. Our lead historian from the architect firm, Lynn Spencer, has been involved in numerous projects of exterior preservation around the state. In her opinion, and this could be a question coming up at CPC, is that painting of this building, along with what I've described, is very much a CPC eligible project. It is historical preservation, it is not simply maintenance. And that's the argument I'm going to be making more strongly with the assistance of the historian when we come to CPC next month. I feel I need some stronger ammunition at that meeting, unless you guys are tougher on me than I expect. But it's certainly needed. Anyone can see that by driving by. It's the next thing on the list. We're happy not to do it until after the building is supported and all of the excavation work is done. Then it's going to be time to do the exterior preservation to the siding, and we will have to convince the CPC that there's no issue about it being CPC eligible. There are similar projects all over the state, and I will be going through the database and identifying those next month. So that's the first of our two projects. And let me just roll right in, because it's not a long description on either one of them. Something that was not on our list, but the architect, there's two principles of that, an architect and a historian, and they both said, you got to take care of those windows. Now what's going on is, there's 52 windows, there's a lot of those little panels, so there's stuff on, there's a lot of little panes that have to be dealt with, and there's a lot of glazing that is failing. That may or may not have been speeded up when the storm windows were put on. Apparently, when you put storm windows on, you can have more impact on the windows. But in any case, we want to, again, I'm going to read from the architect's words, remove windows, temporary enclosure, full sash restoration, reusing the historic glass, reinstallation and frame and jam restoration. I mean, this comes out to about $7,000 or $8,000 per window.
Wow.
You know, I don't know how the town is going to feel about a project of $440,000 for an improvement that most people can't even see that there's a problem. But there is a problem. The town has said it values this historic building. The architects are saying this is a must in terms of something that needs to be done to keep this building in good shape. I've put this as two separate applications to CPC. I don't know where the money stands this year. I don't know if there's $690,000.
You don't even
If
know
there
that
isn't,
yet.
then we can go forward with one of these two projects. The thing everybody sees is the exterior preservation. Maybe that means it should go first. The windows are not going anywhere. If we do it next year or 3 years or 5 years or whenever, it's essentially going to be the same project. Just as time goes on, it'll become more and more expensive, but everybody knows how that works. So folks, that's pretty much the story, and I'm glad to respond to any questions you have.
Yeah. I also do want to clarify, this is not approval of your plans. This is just
Supporting.
supporting you for the CPC.
That's what I'm looking for.
So
Okay.
my first question on the exterior preservation is, I'm surprised it's only $250,000. I mean, after the library, which was a totally different, it was a different project, but that was, what did that end up being, $500,000 to $700,000 or something?
I do
Really
not,
bad.
I do not have more of a line item estimate for
Okay.
you, but I would have that for the next month.
Okay, so that'd be my only concern, is that you haven't put enough maybe in contingencies and stuff.
I'm totally relying on the architect.
Yeah, right.
I-
Because I'd hate to come up short, because that exterior
I know
is
how
so
that works.
important. Now, I know, for instance, the newer addition, the 27, a 1927, I think, was addition. I think that paint is actually pretty good shape.
Well, we're planning to do the whole.
Oh, no, I know you are, but it's
Yeah.
probably just doesn't need a whole lot of work on that side.
Just
but-
let me jump in.
Yeah.
The one thing that the historian said is, the sunny side is gonna deteriorate more quickly.
Yes,
So that east side gets a lot of sun. So that may be one of the reasons it deteriorated more quickly. Or, the way they had been doing it before is they would paint some of it at a time. And I don't know the sequence, maybe the east side was the one that had been painted most farthest away.
So it's not a true rip and replace, it's just repairing
That's right.
as you go through it. It's not like ripping it out,
No,
putting a new
no.
vapor barrier, it's
That's
not,
true,
it's
yeah.
really just a paint
No,
job.
it's some scraping and then putting on the paint.
yeah, although that east side, I think there's going to be some real repair of clapboards there. I mean, it looks real shaky on that side.
a
Looks
lot
like
of
it's going to
table.
just fall off, actually.
But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the architect and say, hey, one of the members is saying, have you really put in enough?
Right.
Just adjust
But particularly on repairs to that side, it could get it, but anyways. As far as the window restoration, so you are proposing to actually restore the existing windows,
Yes.
only piece in wood if it's totally deteriorated, otherwise it's scrape, reglaze, pull the windows out, put in new
Points.
weights.
It's like our dream come true, Bob.
Yeah,
So for frame and jam restoration,
yeah.
they're trying to keep all those little
Well,
panes.
And it's very critical, I think, because this is the one building that is probably the most authentic of any building we have.
Considering the price tag on the windows, this is time to see whether the town is really serious.
Well,
Because it's
Yeah.
a lot of money,
yeah.
but it's an important item.
Now, they did question I think, didn't I see something about the storm windows? They were, I remember that, going through that, and they were historically approved because they inset and the shadow and all that lines, and the art center across the street was done at the same time.
And I believe
so-
it was done with CPC funding.
Yes, it was. I'm not, I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I wouldn't think there'd be a problem with them, other than unless you state that the architect's saying, or somebody's saying that it's causing excessive deterioration.
Lynn Spencer is, the historian, is saying, they may not have been the storms that she would have picked,
Yeah,
but they're acceptable.
The storms will be put back on after the work is
The ones
done.
that are there now.
Yep.
yeah.
So I think she did the cost estimate again, I've got to get the line item for the CPC next month. It was based on her estimate included new storm windows. I said, what about the ones we already have? So it might bring the cost down a little bit.
Wow. Yeah, certainly when it comes to that point, we'd be very interested in that, to understand, because there was, I thought, understood time, effort put in to make sure those were the approved for historic and
Basically, anything you
restoration.
do, somebody's going to second guess a few
Yeah,
years later. but
exactly.
I don't have any knowledge beyond that.
Yeah. So, and those windows have been in tough shape for more than a few years.
So maybe
I
my
started
comment
working in
about-
there 20 years ago, and they were
Maybe my
pretty
comment about
shaky.
the storms having something to do with it, maybe that was off base. I don't know.
I don't know either, but it's an interesting comment. If it is a problem, I'd like to know that from an engineering standpoint.
When
and
you have Lynn
longevity.
Spencer in the room next month, grill her on that one.
Okay, I will. No, that's the only comments I have. I certainly approve both projects, and
Yeah.
I agree with the priority, the exteriors first, then the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the windows, I don't know if you've really looked at them carefully, but my concern is when they do the foundation, which means they'll be leveling the building too, there's gonna be massive shifting of those windows, and
Yeah.
some of those sills are pretty shot now. It's going to create a bigger problem if it's not attended to.
Well, we may find that it's a slightly different scope of work once the,
Yeah.
once the
Yeah.
building's been lifted.
Yeah.
Or not lifted, supported.
Yeah.
Right.
And all that work is done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fortunately, that part of the building has the least number of windows. It's the newer thing that has all the windows.
Okay, Brendan, anything?
No, I'm good, I support both.
Okay. Same here. So do you need a vote or just a?
I would think we should vote.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
move that we support both projects, submitted the the exterior preservation and the window restoration.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to sign this at all, or will you do that?
no,
at
no,
the-
that's.
This is just for us
Oh,
to-
no, that should be signed.
Okay.
Both should be signed probably by you.
Do you want one of us
Craft
to?
a letter of support or?
Oh, wait a minute, do we? No, see, all we have to do is
Yeah,
initial.
We just
Just
initial.
initial? Okay.
Initial, so you can initial them and give them to him
Actually,
right
I'll give you
now.
mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me give you my copy.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I wanted to show you a copy then.
Put,
Alright.
and put the date to,
Okay.
date of approval.
Seems so official.
There.
I'm gonna tell you you're doing a great job.
I'm usually doing notary stuff at work, so this is easy. Just initial, huh?
Yeah.
Did you tell Marie about the building permit?
I just gave her sort of a heads up, but actually I don't remember what
There you go.
And even though I'm not allowed to say, I commend you, even though it's swimming against the tide on your previous applications. We're trying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on our agenda, our 2023 meeting schedule.
Yep,
Does it look okay with everyone?
yep,
Looks
I
good
added
right
it
now.
into my
Okay.
computer and it's there, so.
I'll put this on my wall and on my calendar. Okay.
yeah.
Old business?
No?
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night,
David.
thanks, Dave.
Anything else?
We need to vote on the meeting schedule for 2023.
Oh, we have to vote on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So motion to approve the meeting schedule for 2023.
Okay.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that was approved. All right. No old business. Any committee updates or anything?
No.
Brendan? Okay.
I move to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.